What's up, party people? It's your girl, Audiobook Hustler, aka Books Before Broskies, aka 1-800 Read a Book, aka The Literary Baddie, aka your friendly neighborhood knowledge dealer, aka the queen of breaking books down so you don't have to. All right, tell me if this has ever happened to you. You're mid-conversation, explaining something important, dropping knowledge, maybe even a little wisdom, and then you see it. That blank stare, the glazed over eyes, the slow, uninterested nod. Yeah, they're not listening. Annoying, right? Now, you could blame them for having the attention span of a goldfish, or you could level up your communication skills so that when you talk, people actually listen. And that's exactly what we're doing today. We're diving into the 16 Undeniable Laws of Communication by John C. Maxwell, one of the best in the game when it comes to public speaking, leadership, and making people pay attention. So whether you're leading a team, trying to sell an idea, starting a podcast, or just wanting your family to actually listen when you talk, this one's for you. Grab a drink, get comfy, and let's break down how to speak so people actually hear you. Takeaway 1. People listen to those they trust. Your message is only as powerful as the trust people have in you. What this means, have you ever noticed that two people can say the same thing, but one gets ignored while the other is taken seriously? It's not just about the words, it's about who's saying them. People listen to those they trust, and that trust is built over time through credibility, honesty, and consistency. If your audience doesn't believe in you, your words won't carry much weight, no matter how valuable they are. When someone speaks, listeners subconsciously ask themselves, do they know what they're talking about? Competence. Are they being honest with me? Authenticity. Do they follow through on their words? Reliability. Is what they're saying valuable to me? Relevance and impact. If they can't say yes to those questions, they'll mentally check out, even if your message is important. Real life examples: the charismatic CEO versus the untrustworthy boss. Imagine you work at a company with two different types of leaders. Leader A is transparent, keeps their promises, and takes responsibility when things go wrong. Leader B makes bold claims but rarely delivers, avoids tough conversations, and shifts blame onto others. Who do employees trust and follow? Leader A, because credibility isn't about power, it's about consistency and honesty. Why people trust experts over random opinions. Let's say you see two headlines. 1. A doctor with 30 years of experience gives advice on healthy living. 2. A random influencer on TikTok promotes a miracle weight loss pill. Who are you more likely to believe? The doctor? Because trust is tied to expertise. This is why people listen to voices of authority over casual opinions. The friend who always cancels plans. We all know someone who constantly bails at the last minute. After a while, you stop believing they'll actually show up. The same thing happens in communication. If someone keeps making empty promises, their words lose power. How to apply this in real life? Be consistent. If you make a commitment, keep it. If you give advice, make sure you follow it too. People trust those who say what they mean and do what they say. Be transparent. Don't exaggerate, sugarcoat, or hide the truth. People can sense it. If you don't know something, admit it instead of making something up. Owning up to mistakes builds more trust than pretending to be perfect. Deliver value. People pay attention when they feel they're getting something useful. Instead of focusing on what you want to say, think, what does my audience need? Frame your message in a way that helps them, not just promotes you. Now that we know trust is the foundation of communication, let's talk about how you can actually improve your speaking skills by learning from the best. Takeaway 2. Great communicators learn from others. The best speakers didn't wake up great. They studied, adapted, and refined their skills over time. What this means, you don't have to reinvent the wheel to become an effective communicator. The greatest speakers, storytellers, and leaders all studied those who came before them, breaking down their techniques, adopting what works, and making it their own. Think about it. Comedians study other comedians to perfect timing, delivery, and audience engagement. Public speakers analyze TED Talks to learn pacing, tone, and storytelling. Actors and TV hosts practice their voice control to sound more engaging. Every skill you need to command attention, inspire action, and deliver a message with impact has already been mastered by someone else. Your job? Study them, adapt their techniques, and make them your own. Real-life examples: Barack Obama's mastery of the pause. Obama is known for his commanding presence and clear, compelling speech. One of his key techniques, pausing. He doesn't rush. He lets words settle, creating anticipation and impact. He learned this from past great orators like Martin Luther King Jr. and JFK. How stand-up comedians keep people engaged. Top comedians like Kevin Hart and Ali Wong don't just tell jokes, they observe audience reactions, adjust timing, and build stories that feel personal. Many new comedians watch hours of stand-up routines to learn what works. Steve Jobs and the Art of Simplicity. Steve Jobs wasn't just a tech genius, he was a master communicator. Instead of using jargon, he kept things simple, used powerful visuals, and created excitement with every product launch. Many modern-day tech CEOs now study his presentation style to improve their own. How to apply this in real life. Watch great communicators in action. Break down TED Talks, political speeches, and stand-up performances. Pay attention to body language, pacing, and audience engagement techniques. Ask yourself, what made this effective? How can I use it? Practice mimicking, then make it your own. Try recording yourself using the techniques you learn. Start by mimicking a great speaker's rhythm, then adapt it to fit your own voice. The goal isn't to copy, it's to build on what works and create your own style. Seek feedback and refine. Ask trusted friends or mentors to critique your communication style. Record your speeches and watch for areas where you can improve. Keep evolving. Even the best speakers constantly refine their skills. Now that we know the value of studying great speakers, let's talk about the one thing that can make or break your message: confidence. Takeaway 3, speak with confidence or no one will believe you. If you don't sound sure of yourself, why should anyone else be convinced? What this means: confidence isn't just about how you feel, it's about how you come across. Even if you have the right words, if you sound hesitant, unsure, or nervous, your message loses impact. People naturally mirror energy. If you project certainty, passion, and authority, your audience believes you more. But if you mumble, overuse filler words, or avoid eye contact, your words seem weaker, even if they're 100% true. The good news? Confidence isn't something you're born with, it's something you can develop. Even the world's greatest speakers once struggled. Real-life examples: how Tony Robbins commands a room. Ever watch Tony Robbins speak? His energy is electric, his voice is loud, his gestures are big, and he owns the stage. His confidence makes people buy into his message before they even process the words. He's not just speaking, he's making you feel something. Why news anchors always sound certain. TV anchors rarely hesitate, stumble, or seem unsure, even when reporting unexpected news. That's because they train in voice control, pacing, and strong delivery. So their confidence builds trust in their reporting. The power of fake it till you make it. Many people assume leaders and public speakers were always confident, but that's rarely the case. Even Barack Obama wasn't always a polished speaker. Early in his career, he had a nervous, thin voice, but through practice, he developed his commanding presence. How to apply this in real life? Fix weak language, eliminate I think maybe, and I'm not sure, but from your vocabulary. Instead, use clear, strong statements like, here's what I know, or this is how it works. Slow down your speech. Nervous speakers tend to rush through sentences, which makes them sound uncertain. Confident speakers control their pacing. They take pauses, emphasize key words, and let their message land. Use body language to back up your words. Stand tall, keep your shoulders back, and use open gestures. Don't shrink yourself. Make eye contact. People trust speakers who look at them, not at the floor. Even if you don't feel confident at first, acting confident trains your brain to believe it. Practice, practice, practice. Record yourself speaking. Watch for nervous tics and adjust. Speak in front of a mirror. See what your body language is saying. The more you repeat a speech or idea, the more natural and confident you'll sound. Confidence is powerful, but words still matter. Next, let's talk about how to simplify your message, because if people don't understand you, they won't remember you. Takeaway 4, simplicity wins, make complex ideas easy. If people don't understand you, they won't remember you. What this means, the best communicators aren't the ones who sound the smartest. They're the ones who make complicated ideas feel simple. You don't impress people by using big words or technical jargon. You impress them by making your message clear, relatable, and easy to absorb. If your audience has to work hard to understand you, you've already lost them. Simplicity isn't dumbing things down. It's making things easier to grasp without losing depth. Real-life examples. Steve Jobs and the iPhone launch. When Steve Jobs introduced the iPhone in 2007, he didn't talk about megabytes, processors, or technical specs. He simply said, it's an iPod, a phone, and an internet communicator all in one. He broke down a complex product into something instantly understandable. Why TED Talks are so effective. TED Talks are widely popular because speakers avoid jargon and use stories, visuals, and metaphors to make ideas stick. The most watched TED Talks use simple language and real-life examples, not academic terms. The power of analogies, Einstein once said, if you can't explain it to a 6-year-old, you don't understand it yourself. The best speakers use analogies to connect new ideas to familiar ones. Example, instead of saying neurons transmit signals through synapses, say, imagine neurons like people passing notes in class. The notes are messages, and synapses are the hands passing them. Same concept, but now anyone can picture it. How to apply this in real life. Use simple conversational language. Avoid unnecessary technical terms. Pretend you're explaining it to a friend. Ask yourself, could a 10-year-old understand this? If not, simplify it. Use analogies and metaphors. Connect new information to something people already know. Example, instead of the economy is contracting, say the economy is like a balloon losing air. This makes abstract ideas visual and memorable. Stick to 1 to 3 key points. People can't remember long, complicated explanations. The best communicators focus on one main idea per section and reinforce it with examples. Cut out extra words instead of, in my personal opinion, I strongly believe that, say, I believe, less is more, trim the fluff. Now that you know how to simplify your message, let's talk about how to make it stick through the power of storytelling. Takeaway 5, people remember stories, not just facts. Data informs, but stories transform. What this means, if you want people to remember your message, don't just give them facts, give them a story. The human brain is wired to process and retain narratives better than raw information. While numbers, statistics, and logical arguments may prove a point, stories make people feel something, and emotion is what makes ideas stick. Think about it. We forget lectures, but we remember movies. We don't recall every detail from school, but we remember childhood bedtime stories. The best speeches, ads, and viral videos all use storytelling to hook people in. Facts alone are forgettable. Stories make information relatable, engaging, and memorable. Real-life examples: Martin Luther King Jr.'s "I Have a Dream" speech. When MLK delivered one of the most powerful speeches in history, he didn't just list data on inequality. He painted a vision through storytelling. "I have a dream that one day my 4 little children will live in a nation where they will not be judged by the color of their skin, but by the content of their character." This image resonated deeply because it was personal, emotional, and vivid. Why we remember Nike's Just Do It campaign. Nike could have just said, "Our shoes are durable and well made." Instead, they told a story of athletes pushing through struggles with the simple slogan, "Just do it." It's not about features, it's about feelings. The Ice Bucket Challenge, a viral story. The ALS Ice Bucket Challenge became one of the biggest online movements, not because of statistics about ALS, but because people were: 1. Experiencing the challenge themselves. 2. Sharing personal stories of ALS patients. 3. Spreading it through storytelling on social media. The result? Millions in donations and global awareness. How to apply this in real life: turn facts into narratives. Instead of saying public speaking is important, say, "I once saw someone bomb a speech and it cost them a promotion. Here's what they could have done differently." Personal examples make abstract ideas real. Use the classic story structure. A great story has: 1. A setup, context, or problem. 2. A struggle, the challenge or conflict. 3. A resolution, the lesson or takeaway. Example: a job interview success story could be: setup, I used to get nervous in interviews. Struggle, one time I blanked on a question and panicked. Resolution, I learned a simple technique that helped me stay calm, and I landed the job. Make your audience see themselves in the story. The best stories don't just entertain, they make the listener feel like they're part of it. Use relatable situations and universal emotions so people connect with your message. Use emotion to make it stick. People may forget what you said, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. Make your audience laugh, feel inspired, or even shocked. Emotion cements memory. Now that you know how to make your message stick through storytelling, let's talk about another key ingredient of powerful communication: reading the room and adapting to your audience. Takeaway 6. If you don't adapt, you lose the room. The best communicators don't just talk, they adjust, read the audience, and stay flexible. What this means: no speech, presentation, or conversation ever goes exactly as planned. If you cling too tightly to a script, you risk losing your audience the moment their attention drifts. Great communicators don't just deliver information. They read the room and adjust their tone, speed, and message based on audience reactions. Whether you're giving a speech, leading a meeting, or even just chatting with a friend, the ability to adapt in real time makes all the difference. Think about it. If people look bored, a great speaker shifts energy to re-engage them. If an audience doesn't understand something, a great communicator explains it in a simpler way. If people seem skeptical, a confident speaker addresses doubts head on instead of avoiding them. Communication isn't one size fits all. It's about knowing what works for your audience in the moment and adjusting as needed. Real life examples: comedians who read the room. Stand-up comedians master audience adaptation. If a joke flops, they don't just power through. They pivot, try a different angle, or acknowledge the awkwardness to win the crowd back. Great leaders who adjust their message. Barack Obama changes his tone and style depending on his audience. Formal in a debate, casual in a town hall. Oprah Winfrey adapts based on her guests, tough with politicians, warm with personal stories. How a job interview can go badly or well. Imagine you're in a job interview and the interviewer seems uninterested. Do you keep droning on with pre-rehearsed answers, adjust, ask a question, make a joke, or change your approach to re-engage them? The best communicators are always aware how their audience is responding, and they adjust accordingly. How to apply this in real life? Pay attention to body language and reactions. Are people leaning in or zoning out? Do they look confused, engaged, or skeptical? Have multiple ways to explain your points. If your first explanation doesn't land, be ready to try a simpler example or analogy. Don't assume people understand just because you explained it once. Be flexible and change your delivery. If your audience seems disinterested, inject humor, ask a question, or switch your tone. If they're engaged, keep going, but don't over-explain and lose momentum. Ask questions and encourage interaction. Instead of just talking at people, invite them into the conversation. Does that make sense? Have you ever experienced this yourself? What do you think about that? The more engaged your audience feels, the more they'll stay connected to your message. Now that you know how to adapt to your audience, let's talk about another game changer: how passion and energy can turn any speech into something unforgettable. Takeaway 7. People mirror your energy. Passion is contagious. The energy you bring to your words can transform a boring talk into something memorable. What this means: energy isn't just about jumping around on stage or shouting into a mic. It's about the conviction, enthusiasm, and emotion behind your words. People naturally respond to the vibe you project. If you speak with genuine excitement and passion, your audience feels it. But if you're flat, monotone, or unenthusiastic, their attention drifts. Passion is contagious. When you're genuinely excited about what you're saying, your audience becomes excited too. They lean in, they care more, and they're more likely to remember your message. Real life examples: Tony Robbins' electric energy. When Tony Robbins speaks, it's impossible not to feel his enthusiasm. He paces the stage, uses big gestures, and raises his voice at just the right moments. His passion makes people feel like they're part of something bigger, inspiring them to take action. Why some teachers stand out. Think back to school. There were teachers who droned on, and then there were teachers who loved their subject so much that their excitement was infectious. Those are the teachers you remember. Their energy made even difficult topics seem fascinating. Apple keynotes versus typical product launches. When Apple introduces a new product, there's a sense of excitement, not just because the product is good, but because the presenters are genuinely passionate. That energy creates buzz and keeps people talking about it long after the event ends. How to apply this in real life? Find what genuinely excites you. If you're not passionate about a topic, your audience won't be either. Focus on the parts of your message that excite you and let that enthusiasm come through. Use your voice and body to convey energy. Vary your tone. Don't speak in a monotone. Use hand gestures, facial expressions, and movement to show you care. Even subtle energy shifts, like leaning forward or raising your eyebrows, make you seem more engaged. Channel positive emotions. Excitement, joy, and optimism are contagious. When you speak, think about why your message matters and let that feeling shine through. Practice with a friend. Share your presentation with someone you trust. If they say, "You sound flat," or "I don't feel the passion," don't take it personally. Use that feedback to adjust your delivery. Once you bring passion and energy into your communication, the next step is making it a two-way street, engaging your audience so they feel part of the conversation. Takeaway 8. Engagement is a two-way street. The best communication feels like a conversation, not a lecture. What this means: even the most passionate speaker can lose their audience if the talk feels one-sided. True engagement happens when your audience feels involved, heard, and included. Communication shouldn't just be about what you're saying. It should also be about how your audience is responding. When people feel like their questions, reactions, and thoughts matter, they stay tuned in. In other words, don't talk at your audience, talk with them. Real life examples: stand-up comedy as an interactive art form. Comedians rely on their audience to gauge how a set is going. If a joke gets a big laugh, they build on it. If it falls flat, they pivot. The constant feedback loop keeps the audience engaged, making them feel like they're part of the performance. Town hall meetings that actually work. The best leaders don't just give a long speech and leave. Instead, they ask for input, listen to concerns, and incorporate feedback into their plans. When people feel included in decision-making, they're more likely to stay engaged. Why some online content goes viral. Interactive webinars, live Q&A sessions, and social media posts that invite comments and questions get more traction than one-way lectures. The audience feels heard, which makes them more likely to share, comment, and engage. How to apply this in real life? Ask questions, even rhetorical ones. Get people thinking. For example, have you ever felt this way? Or what would you do in this situation? These questions encourage reflection and keep your audience mentally involved. Encourage feedback and interaction. If you're giving a talk, leave time for a Q&A session. In smaller settings, pause to ask, does that make sense? Or what do you think? Make it clear that their input matters. Respond to reactions in real time. If you notice people nodding along, say, it looks like this idea is resonating. Let me expand on it. If you see confusion, pause and clarify before moving on. Use interactive elements. Incorporate quick polls, hands-up questions, or small group discussions. The more your audience feels involved, the more engaged they'll stay. Once you have their attention and involvement, you can focus on another essential element of great communication, delivering clarity and value through simplicity. Takeaway 9. Silence is a powerful speaking tool. Sometimes the most impactful thing you can say is nothing at all. What this means, when you're speaking, it's natural to want to fill every moment with words, but well-timed pauses, moments of silence can be even more powerful than what you say. A deliberate pause gives your audience time to think, process, and absorb your message. Silence isn't just the absence of sound, it's a strategic pause that can emphasize a key point, create anticipation before revealing an important idea. Give listeners a moment to reflect on what you just said. When used effectively, silence makes your message feel more intentional and allows your audience to engage more deeply. Real-life examples. Great orators who mastered the pause. Martin Luther King Jr.'s I Have a Dream speech is remembered not only for the words, but for the way he let those words resonate. By pausing at key moments, he made each phrase land with greater impact. Comedians who leverage silence. Stand-up comedians know that a well-timed pause after a punchline is what gives the joke room to breathe. Without it, the joke might get lost. That moment of silence creates the space for the audience to laugh and remember the moment. Storytellers who build tension. In a suspenseful story, a storyteller might stop mid-sentence, leaving the audience on the edge of their seats. That brief silence builds tension, makes the reveal more exciting, and keeps listeners fully engaged. How to apply this in real life? Pause before making an important point. If you're about to say something that you want people to remember, pause. Let their attention focus. For example, after saying, "This is the most important thing I learned," stop for a moment before continuing. Use silence to highlight transitions. Instead of rushing from one idea to the next, give a brief pause. This signals that you're shifting topics and gives your audience time to follow. Give your listeners time to reflect. If you share a profound insight or ask a thought-provoking question, let the silence sit. It allows your audience to process and connect with what you just said. This not only helps them remember your message, but also shows that you respect their time and attention. Practice using pauses in rehearsals. When you rehearse a presentation or speech, deliberately mark where you'll pause. Over time, it will feel more natural, and you'll start to notice the positive impact it has on your audience's engagement. Once you've learned to use silence strategically, the final step is to ensure your message always delivers value, giving your audience a clear reason to listen and take action. Takeaway 10. Make your message about them, not you. If you want people to listen, show them why your message matters to them. What this means: one of the most common communication mistakes is focusing too much on what you want to say instead of what your audience wants to hear. It's easy to get caught up in delivering information, sharing your opinions, or showcasing your expertise. But if your message doesn't clearly benefit the listener, they'll tune out. Great communicators always ask themselves, why should my audience care? What's in it for them? How can I frame this so it resonates with their needs, goals, and challenges? When you put your audience's needs first, your message becomes more engaging, relatable, and memorable. Real-life examples: effective salespeople speak to the customer's pain points. A successful salesperson doesn't just list a product's features. They explain how those features solve the customer's problem. For instance, instead of, "This software has advanced analytics," they say, "This software helps you spot trends faster so you can make smarter decisions and save time." Inspiring leaders? Focus on team benefits. When leaders announce a change, they don't just talk about what the company wants. They explain how it will help employees grow, improve work-life balance, or reach career goals. By showing the personal benefits, they make the change feel worthwhile. Content creators who build a loyal following. Successful YouTubers and bloggers don't just create content they like. They create content their audience values. They constantly ask their viewers, "What topics are you struggling with?" Or, "What would you like me to cover next?" This approach builds trust and keeps people coming back. How to apply this in real life? Understand your audience's needs. Do some research. Who are you speaking to? What are their pain points? The more you know about their challenges, goals, and concerns, the easier it is to make your message relevant. Frame your message in terms of benefits. Instead of saying, "I have something important to tell you," say, "Here's something that can make your job easier." Always highlight how your message solves a problem or creates an opportunity for the listener. Make it about their goals. If you're giving a presentation, show you how your solution helps them achieve their objectives. For example, a manager pitching a new workflow might say, "This will reduce the time you spend on manual tasks, so you can focus more on strategy and innovation." Ask for feedback and adapt. During or after your talk, invite feedback. Ask, "What did you find most useful?" Or, "Is there anything you'd like me to elaborate on?" When you show that you care about what they think, your audience feels valued and appreciated. Now that we've covered the key takeaways, let's wrap it all up with the main lessons and next steps for applying these principles in your own communication. Closing, wrapping it all together. So we've covered a lot of ground today: how to build trust, speak with confidence, tell compelling stories, and keep your audience engaged. The real magic happens when you take these ideas off the page and into your everyday conversations. Let's quickly recap our main takeaways. 1. Earn trust first. If people don't believe in you, they won't believe your words. 2. Learn from the greats. Observe and adapt the techniques of top communicators. 3. Bring the confidence. Believe in your message, and your audience will too. 4. Keep it simple. Clarity wins over complexity every time. 5. Tell a story. Facts inform, but stories stick. 6. Adapt as you go. Stay flexible and adjust to the room's energy. 7. Show your passion. Excitement is contagious. If you're all in, they'll be all in. 8. Engage them. Make it a two-way conversation, not a lecture. 9. Use pauses strategically. Silence can make your message land even harder. 10. Focus on them. Show your audience why your message matters to them. What's next? Take one or two of these principles and try them out in your next meeting or conversation. Revisit this video when you need a refresher. Communication is a skill that gets better with practice. And don't forget to keep refining your message. Small adjustments can lead to big improvements over time. All right, legends, that's a wrap. Now, let's make this a conversation. What's one communication takeaway you plan to try out first? Drop it in the comments below and let's chop it up. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on those notifications so you don't miss out on future drops. I've got more book breakdowns, actionable strategies, and fire tips on the way. Don't miss them. Thanks for hanging with me, and I'll catch you in the next one. Stay legendary.